This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on the zone. Raven Chapman joins me, someone who I can imagine is very in demand at the moment because
Yeah.
everyone knows what's about to go down October the 5th. Mega between you and Skye. But before that, how's life at the moment?
Yeah, really good, really good. I've got a few little projects um on the go at the moment, so excited about those. Life's just yeah, life's good. I'm content, I'm happy, and yeah, I'm really excited, obviously getting the fight news that we wanted as well. So, just to top off, everything's yeah, going well, going good, thank you.
Can you divulge any of those projects? Anything exciting boxing wise that fans might want to know?
Um to be fair, the projects on some are one of them's would be pretty cool. I'll keep that one close to my chest, boxing wise, like outside of me boxing personally. And the other one's just like a personal project. I've just bought a van that I'm going to convert. So, yeah, I'm going to have my hands busy at the weekends from now on, basically, until that's done.
So are we talking one that you do up and then kind of go coast to coast and do a little bit of traveling?
Yeah, exactly that. So I bought myself a little Ford Transit. um, that's just completely shell. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking to do. Just convert that into fully functioning camper and go and travel. We like snowboarding and surfing and that sort of thing. So chase the sun, chase the snow, stay in the mountains for a bit, that sort of thing.
Yeah, wicked. See, a message to the fans there. If you listen to that, it's not all Lamborghinis just because you're
That's it.
fighting on
That's
TV.
it. Man, the one thing I wanted to get myself was a Ford Transit, and look where I am now.
Um, right. Yeah, you must be over the moon. A fight that people knew was going to happen, whether it was next or down the line. We all knew at some point that you and Skye Nicolson would cross paths, but to have it on Riyadh season, to see the poster, to see His Excellency post
Mm.
on social media, and to be able to tell everyone, you must feel amazing right now.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, just great fight to be made, great card to be on. Really grateful to be given such a big opportunity, bringing women's boxing, first title fight in Saudi, first women fighting on the Riyadh season. Yeah, it's a great honor to be able to be part of that and be part of that history and put on a good show. And yeah, I just can't wait for the opportunity. Obviously, when it all kicked off, typical me, I had my phone off. And then for whatever reason, I was like, oh, I'll just turn my phone on. And suddenly I just had a barrage of things coming through. I was like, that wasn't meant to be announced yet. From what I'd heard, it wasn't meant to be announced till like September. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Reposted a few things. I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm just gonna go back to bed and turn it off again. I'll deal with that in the morning. You know what I'm like. So yeah, no, been a little bit in demand, but it's fun. It's fun being able to talk about it, and it's a great fight to be able to talk about on a great card. So yeah, it's just all really, really amazing. And like we were sort of talking about before, just like the stars have aligned for it to happen now.
Yeah, it doesn't come much more His Excellency doing what he wants than announcing a very UK-based card about 11, half 11 at night. Um, I know obviously you'll be enemies in the lead up to the fight, um, but can you and Skye, or will you at one point just look at each other and be like, look what we're actually doing right here, just away from the fight? Like you said, the first one on Riyadh season female fight, the first female world title fight in Saudi Arabia. Will you get the chance, you think, to just look at each other and be like, we're actually doing something here that is more than sport, is cultural history?
Yeah, 100%. I'd love to have the opportunity to speak to Skye. I thought I was going to get to speak to her the other weekend. That didn't happen. But we're not necessarily friends now. We're fighting each other, so the friendliness can wait till afterwards, can't it?
Well, I did see that obviously she was there supporting Will Hamilton and you were ringside. I did wonder if you two got the chance to speak, but clearly not. What's the relationship like between you two? Because I know you've sparred in the past as well. How would you kind of call it between you and Skye?
Yeah, we're very. I don't know. I think we've got a good respect for each other. We're very amicable with each other. We're friendly. There's no there's nothing really like between us negative wise, if that makes sense. I respect her as a person as well. We get on. It's not one of them, and I think we both know it's a really good fight. We both know it's a fight the fans want, and yeah, it's been now happening, and I couldn't be more excited to do it. Obviously, Skye's got the world title, so I've been wanting my opportunity to fight for a world title, and I'm getting that too. It doesn't matter who it is with a title. I want to be able to fight them, and it just so happens I'm fighting for the one that Skye has.
Yeah, obviously, I know your end goal won't just be winning a world title on October the 5th. You'll want to have multiple world titles, multiple weights. But when you've been working up the WBC rankings, fighting for the international belts, etc., does it
Yeah.
feel like a real chase for this WBC title, like the green and gold belt? To have that, it feels like you must have been chasing kind of this one present, if you like, for quite a while now.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like it. And like I say, I felt like I definitely proven myself to be worthy of fighting for that belt. I've defended my title with the WBC, what, 4 times now. I've fought good opponents, some well ranked opponents, and it's like, well, I think I've done more than my fair share to prove that I should be given this opportunity. And like I say, the stars aligned in a way that it just so happens I'm getting that opportunity now on one of the biggest stages in boxing. And I think that's fully deserved. I've worked a long time for this. I've been grafting, for the last 10 years. But people only see that last few percentages when you start, putting it into practice almost, at the top. So yeah, I feel like it's my time, and I couldn't be more ready for it. I felt ready for the last couple of fights. So I'm just going to take the opportunity now and go and get what I deserve, basically.
Yeah. I mean, in the scale of professional boxing careers, although they're not ever the longest, you haven't been a pro for that long. If we take it back to when me and you first started doing interviews before you turned pro, you mentioned Heather Hardy, you had the
Yeah.
chat with Amanda Serrano, you were never shy. But did you imagine when you turned pro that things would happen this quickly, things this big would happen this quickly as well?
I think in a way, yes, because it happens a bit quicker in boxing, in women's boxing, sorry. I've seen friends of mine have their opportunities sooner than I have, that are boxing at the level that I'm boxing at. But that's their journey. This is my journey. And now, like you say, I'm getting to do it on such a big scale that it makes it all worth it, makes all that graft, makes all the last fights. It's all been leading up to this moment. And yeah, and I've had that experience in the ring now as well, where, I've had some tough conditions in an over 40-degree York Hall. I've had a cut from head clashes. I've experienced it. I've had tough, aggressive opponents, and I've come through each challenge with flying colours. And that's how I see this fight as well. It's just another challenge that I'm going to come through and show my level of ability and show why I believe I am the best.
Now, you mentioned them real tough experiences. I guess when you get into a tough experience in a fight, you kind of call on things of the past. What sort of experiences or what sort of moments you think you might have to go through in this fight?
It's just that mental toughness. I feel like I'm very mentally tough. Doesn't matter what anyone throws at me, I can withstand it with durit. That's through training, that's through the fights I've had, through life experiences. And I think all these things build up to making a great fighter, and that's why I'm going to prove that I am the greatest featherweight.
Well, I mentioned the sparring that you two had done before. When you did that spar, I'm sure it was both in the back of your mind. Was you thinking one day this fight's going to happen?
Yeah, so it's funny because I'm sure someone said how Skye remembered it was a bit of a mistruth to how it actually was. Um, Apparently, she said we were both out of like holiday, like 2 weeks in, and it's like, no, I was 2 weeks back in the gym and you 2 weeks out from a fight and needed sparring. And I remember it because my manager didn't want me to spar because he knew we would be opponents in the future. but we got on well with their team. You know, we like Eddie and Alan and I box, and Stu's good friends with them, and he'd already agreed to it, and I didn't mind. But yeah, I was 2 weeks back in the gym, and she was 2 weeks out from a fight. And the spar was good. We had a good competitive spar, and yeah, like I say, it was sparring as well. Though, like, fight is very different, isn't it, for both people? So yeah, like I say, I'm not worried about the spars. Like, I want to fight her, and I'm really confident in when we fight that I will win.
Well, yeah, that was my interview. So she mentioned about the sparring, and then she said
Yeah,
because of the time of year, it was, I think, she said it was awkward in terms of trying to get other sparring in.
yeah.
And then you two just, I
But I'm
guess,
sure, like,
kind
from
of tried to
what
cross
I heard,
paths
it's,
and sparred it out.
yeah, yeah. So I was. It was just after Christmas. I was back in the gym. It was my second week back in the gym, and she was 2 weeks out from the fight. And like I say, I'm not worried about fighting now.
Is the fear factor been eliminated from you since day one of being a professional? Because like you said, you've never seemed very phased about much in your pro career. You've mentioned that you feel like you're quite mentally tough. Has that fearlessness just been there since day one, or is it something you've had to build into as a professional?
I think it's just part of my personality and who I am. Really, I'm fearless in a lot of stuff that I do, and if something does make me feel a bit of fear, I actually really enjoy that, because not a lot of things actually give me that fear. You know, one thing as a kid, I used to not like heights, but I used to love anything that involved heights, because it actually made me, like, made my heart pump, and gave me that adrenaline, and I love having that. But yeah, nothing really phases me. I don't feel like anything could be thrown at me that would phase me at all. Just in boxing and in life in general, I'm very, I'm a very strong-willed person. And yeah, I like I say, I believe in myself, and I think because I have that kind of robustness about myself, it just goes into everything else that I do.
Yeah, well, boxers are a different breed. I always say this. I've never boxed myself, but you have to be fearless to be able to want to voluntarily be punched in the face as a profession.
Oh yeah, it's not something that a lot of people probably would understand why, and you probably speak to a lot of boxers that say they actually enjoy getting punched.
All of them love it. They all love it, honestly.
And it's that things like sometimes, you might be sparring, you're not quite switched on, you get caught with a good shot, and you wake up, you're like, okay, that's you, that's the best you got, let's go. Um, but yeah, I think that's definitely a boxer's mentality. Well, not even a boxer's, a fighter's mentality. If you've got to be able to, if you want to be able to give a punch, I think you've got to be able to take a punch.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll leave the fighting to the other people. That's why I stick this side of the camera. Just talking about the team and the journey as a whole. Stuart put on Instagram, his caption was, I think it was "pinch me." Um,
Yeah.
of course, he'll have a game plan to put in place, and he'll have his game face on for fight week. But just for the team and everyone around you, I guess you knew this would come, a big moment like this, but there is still a big pinch me element. They must feel all really, really good right now.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's so exciting, and like you say, it's one of them, like, these big moments will come, but it's not until you're in it, that you really do feel it. And I remember after our meeting with Frank and us telling the news, even though we kind of knew that's what it was going to be, we still both kind of in the car back in a bit of shock, like, wow, this is amazing, what an opportunity, what a platform, what a fight card, what what a historic night it's going to be that we're going to all be involved in. And yeah, everyone was just super excited, all really happy for me, but at the same time it's like, well, the job's not done yet.
Yeah. So did you get summoned in by Frank or George, and then you're like, I think we know what's coming, basically?
Yeah, so obviously after my fight, they said this was the fight that they were wanting. Beforehand, I was told this was kind of what they were trying for in October anyway. But like I said, I know how boxing works. I've been told things in the past, and because of how boxing works, it's just not ended up happening for whatever reason, and no fault of my own. So it's kind of until we were then in the office and getting told, it was like, okay, it's 100% happening now. It's like you don't want to get too excited for it to then not come together. So yeah, it was, it was a great meeting with Frank, and yeah, everyone was really excited to be able to make this happen. Queensbury were chuffed to be able to make this opportunity happen for me and be that part of history as well.
Yeah, well, you can't not be excited. It's huge. Dmitry Bivol, Artur Beterbiev with a ridiculous undercard. It's going
Yeah.
to be a serious night in Riyadh. Your Riyadh experience, you've been before, where a lot of the big fights are now. So what's your Riyadh experience been like?
Yeah, it's been really good. There's always been like a lot of big faces there, good crowd, for the build up and everything like that. It's quite a busy week, so at least I know I'll be prepared for a busy week. And like the kind of conditions out there, so I know what I need to pack and everything else. But no, I've had a really good experience going out there, and I'm really excited to be able to be fighting out there. And from that as well, I made some good friends out there through boxing that I probably would only see again in the Riyadh season thing. So it'd be great to hopefully have them be able to be there and support me as well. So yeah, I've just had nothing but a good experience, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I know your focus is Skye Nicolson on October the 5th, but we know what His Excellency is like. We know what Riyadh season are like. If you go in there, you knock her out, you become world champion. I'm sure you'll be invited back pretty swiftly to Riyadh season. So it's almost a platform to put yourself on to earn financially very well and just continuously have massive fights for the next 3, 4 years. Like this is more than just, I guess, a world title fight, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a great opportunity as well. Like I say, showcase yourself and be a fighter that they like and want to invite back. You're going to be involved in big fights and really make all that graft really worth it. And that's what it's about, I think, as a fighter, being involved in those big fights that are memorable, that are exciting, that are explosive, and that people want to see. And that's what's important to me as well. And that's why this fight's so good, because people genuinely want to see this. And they're the kind of fights that I want to be involved in going forwards.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously going to be on a new level out in Riyadh, but do you ever get used to seeing yourself on posters or like the screens where like they bring up a picture of you like arms crossed looking serious? Like, do you ever get used to seeing like your face and your name plotted all about on fight weeks and stuff?
The sometimes and sometimes not. I think when you're like in a fight camp, you kind of not used to it, but I don't really pay much attention to it. The one thing I have sort of realized that I need to do is not going out with sweaty hair and trackies on all the time anymore. I have to make a bit more of an effort when I go places these days.
You tell me
Which
that's
yeah,
that's the downside to all of this is that you've got to make it.
yeah, yeah. Or the amount of times where it's like, oh, I've had a hard training day and it's like I need to wash my hair, but I don't have time. I've just got to eat something quickly and run out. I'm meant to have a photo shoot. I'm like, just why? There's no point. So I'm not going to put these pictures anywhere because they're going to be shite. Um, so that's happened a few times, but yeah, it's just part and parcel of it, isn't it? And just me being me, I'm not the girliest of girls. I'm a bit of a tomboy. I grew up with my dad. I didn't grow up being like girly. So trying to even drying my hair after I've watched it, I can't be bothered sometimes. So, like I say, it's just learning to make a bit more of an effort, being a bit more presentable, especially locally here, because a lot of people recognize me now, which is funny. So I always think, oh, where do I know them from? But I don't. They just know who I am. It's amusing sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I probably should have like brushed my hair or something today, you know. But
Oh, I love it. Well, look, now let's talk about the fight itself. I said this when I spoke to Skye the other day. I guess when people talk about this fight in the build-up, they're going to look at a potential avenue of you're going to dart across the ring and try and stick it right on her, and she's going to stick on the back foot. I know that's a possibility, and there may be pockets of the fight that play out like that. But this fight between you two is a lot more than just you doing one thing and her doing another. So break it down to me. I know you won't give too much away, but how you think things might kind of play out as the fight progresses.
Violence.
Just straight up violence.
Straight up violence.
And that's it. I mean, it's the best sales pitch we could have asked for. You expecting Skye to, I mean, we've seen what she's done in her fights that she's had so far. In her words, it's because she hasn't had someone that she's felt enough of a test to have to perhaps stand still and dig deep. But you're expecting Skye to be very on the back foot.
Yeah, yeah. That's obviously what we've seen, and that's what she does. That's what she does well. So I'll expect she'll want to stick to what she does well. But if she wants to hold her feet more and stand and trade, then fucking love that. So either way, I'm prepared. I've had the experience of someone wanting to stand there and trade with me, and I've had the experience of someone wanting to run from me too.
Is this a fight where you win by knockout?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Well, look, flying with confidence, promising violence. I'm not really sure we could have wanted anything else from this little bit with Raven Chapman. So between now and October the 5th, is it just lock yourself behind them gym doors, put in every single second of graft you physically can, and I guess wait for fight week now?
Yeah, yeah, essentially. Like I say, we've treated every single fight camp as if it's been a world title fight. So for us, it's back to business as usual. Obviously, different game plans, different fighters. But yeah, every fight camp for us has been as if we've been training for a world title. So we'll continue with that intensity.